Today on the show, did we all learn a lesson from the Maga Hat Kid? Gee, I really hope we did.
Welcome to the future, where the glass is half full and you'll need new glasses, where you'll be jumping from conclusions.
The past is annulled, and a new future is born.
Never before in history has so much meant so little to so many.
You know, people need to stop and take a breath. People need to take a moment, take a second. Take that deep breath in. Hold it for a moment or two. Seriously, there's science to this. And then let it all out. Why? Well, it actually makes a difference. You want to be the cooler head that prevails. Or at least I do. And taking a breath has been scientifically proven to help you do that. It's funny. One of the very first things I ever learned when I started going to therapy was that taking a deep breath and counting to 10 really makes a big difference. If you're incensed, if you're angry, if you're feeling hurt, if you are about to get into some sort of argument, dispute, a fight, if you're about to go into fight or flight mode for whatever reason, take a deep breath, count backwards from 10. And you know, it's interesting. The shrink that told me this, and we'll get to the point of all this, but this is a useful tool for life, for today, for tomorrow, for always. If you are put into a tough situation where you think you're going to overreact, taking a deep breath and counting backwards from 10 really helps. I remember looking at the shrink that was telling me this and being like, really? $80 an hour or whatever the hell it is you cost, and that's the best you got? Take a deep breath and count to 10. He was like, stay with me on this one. There's some science to it. I was like, please do explain. I was incredulous, to say the least. But this guy explained to me that if you are about to get really, really angry or really, really upset or really, really anything, if you're about to have a massive fight or flight style emotional overreaction to anything in any way, shape, or form, in any direction, well, you can't outthink that. You can't logic that. That's a chain of events going off in your brain. Those are synapses firing faster than your mental process can keep up with. It's a chain reaction. And as a punk rock kid, I don't know, I'm genetically predisposed to tell people to kiss my ass really fast. Here's the thing. I think life is made up of these moments where you decide to tell someone you're either kicking ass or kissing it. And I seem to get those two things confused every now and then. So it behooves me to be able to get a hold of my temper from time to time. And so I was asking this shrink, how do I do that? And he told me to take a deep breath and count backwards from 10. And when I told him to kiss my ass, he explained to me that when you are having a serious emotional reaction to something, you can't outthink that. You can't logic your way out of that. That's a chain reaction going off in your brain that you cannot outrun with thought. But if you interrupt it by doing something different, by sort of distracting your brain, by refocusing it somewhere else, then you can take that moment and calm down. That's how you stop it. And I was like, and that's what that does? Taking a deep breath and counting to 10 stops that chain reaction of you losing your temper or you getting upset or you getting sad or you having this fight or flight reaction. He was like, yep, it does. And you know what? I've done it so many times in the past. Taking a deep breath, counted to 10. And it's not a magic bullet. It hasn't worked every time, but it works most of the time. I think we collectively, as America, need to stop and take a breath and count backwards from 10. We need to slow down. We need to be the cooler head that prevails. And it's really tough to do. It's really tough to do. And this is why I'm never going to drive as nice of a car or live in as big of a house as the vast majority of my cohorts in the media. I'm not willing to fly off the handle before I have the facts. And man, There has never been a better, more demonstrative example of people flying off the handle without facts than there was this past weekend just gone by. You know, of course, what I'm talking about. The entirety of the internet had a very strong opinion about something they did not witness. But man, people were heated because of that one picture. You saw it, I saw it, we all saw it. Right around the time Roe versus Wade got passed, the anniversary of Roe versus Wade, right around this time of year, mid-January or so, there's a march on Washington, D.C. called the March for Life. And people protest Roe versus Wade. Now, you may be pro-life, you may be pro-choice, it is absolutely their right to do that. It's their right to march in a peaceful fashion. And generally speaking, you don't hear too much about it. Roe versus Wade doesn't look like it's getting overturned anytime soon, no matter how you feel about it. And for that reason, while it's an expression of how people feel, it doesn't look like it's going to make any sort of noticeable difference to how we go through life in America. But we heard about it. We heard about it extensively this past weekend just gone by. Although the March for Life was really not the focus of our attention or the attention of the media, who were only too quick to feed into America's collective hysteria over this one event, over this one picture. Teenage kids wearing Maga hats who attend that all-boys Catholic school, Covington Catholic, came face-to-face with a Native American Vietnam veteran. And, oh man, they were clearly just paragons of white privilege and toxic masculinity. Especially that one kid. And there is that picture, which will probably go down in the history books as a snapshot of this time, although not for the reason that everybody thought. Not for the reason that everybody thought when they first saw it. That picture of a kid looking unbelievably smug and looking as though he did not have the greatest of respect for the Vietnam veteran Native American that was facing him at the time. Why do we all need to calm down? I'm sure you know where we're going with this, but it bears repeating and it bears discussing.
Real radio.
104.1.
Where the left and right come together for fundamental truths. AD on the radio, on Twitter at ADSXE.
So the internet collectively lost its mind over a picture this past weekend just gone by. And this is why I can't do it. I can't take the trending topic and talk about it and take a strong and informed position on it the way every other talk radio host does in America and capitalize on it, because 9 times out of 10, as was proven over and over again this weekend, we don't have all the facts. Maybe we never will have all the facts. Maybe we're going to get all the facts later. But man, I've never been a big fan of the herd mentality. This is why so often I get emails and tweets and whatnot from listeners saying, AD, how come you haven't talked about this yet? What do you think? And the answer is, no matter what the subject is, a lot of the time, I don't know what I think yet because I don't have all the facts yet. And if I was willing to wade in all heavy-handed, willy-nilly and be like, this is my take on this situation that's breaking now, rah! Like I said, I'd probably drive a much nicer car. I'd probably live in a much bigger house, but I wouldn't be dealing in facts and I wouldn't be dealing in the truth. And that's something that I just can't get away from. Curse my principles. Anyways, we all saw it happen. Now, look, there are still a variety of opinions floating around about what happened with the Maga Hat Kid and the Native American Vietnam veteran elder. At first, it was like, this kid is disrespecting an elder and a veteran. Look at that snarky smirk on his face. It's the most punchable face in America, I think people were calling it. And it was a picture that was destined to go down in history as, well, something that would show up when people made documentaries about this time period we're living in right now. And it probably will, but not necessarily. For that reason, I hope it goes down in history, that picture of the Maga Hat Kid looking at the Native American Vietnam vet. I hope it goes down in history as a lesson to all of us that just because we see a picture and somebody fills in a narrative and writes something, we don't have the facts. We don't know. And I refuse to weigh in on. People like, just say something on Twitter, post something online. I was like, I don't know. I don't know what's happening in this picture. I know what looks like is happening in this picture. I know what people are saying is happening in this picture. And if that's true, well, then it's detestable, but I don't know for a fact. And let's also just take a moment, take a beat and say that this is a kid. And as much as a MAGA hat is in many ways synonymous to a Klan hood for a lot of people, it's not for everyone that wears it. So no, I'm not going to weigh in all heavy-handed. I'm not going to abuse the teeny tiny modicum of influence that I have in the media world to crucify this kid when I don't have the facts. And it's amazing. A guy like me, a guy who, look, my bread and butter is playing Tool and Metallica records and making fart jokes on the radio. That's what I do when I'm not doing this. And it's insane to me that a guy like me is the person that was like, nah, we don't have all the facts. I need to take a moment. I don't know exactly what's going on here. Don't know exactly what's going on here. And so therefore, I should probably keep my mouth shut. Now seems like a really good time to listen as opposed to talk. And look, the folks over at CNN and Fox News are making entirely too much money to listen as opposed to talk. The folks over at CNN and Fox News and whatever media outlet is feeding into whatever narrative, whatever the trending topic may be, they're all making way too much cash off of it to let facts get in the way of what it is they're writing or reporting. By the way, have you noticed something? I still haven't weighed in on this. I still haven't offered an opinion about who was right and who was wrong and what exactly happened. There's a reason for that. I still don't know. I've watched a whole bunch of he said, she said stuff play out on the internet. And maybe at some point I will have a firm opinion about it. But right now, my firm opinion is that we need to stop. We need to take a beat. We need to take a breath. We need to count backwards from 10 before we get all heavy-handed and upset because it's not serving anyone. When we fight with each other this way, you know who's all stoked about it? The Vladimir Putins of this world. The enemies of America, the rivals of America, the Kim Jongs of this world love it when we go after each other in this way. And look, this is a republic. This is democracy. This is the free world, and it's gonna get messy. There's no avoiding that. But we've gotten to a point where we really need to stop and tell ourselves, maybe I should chill out for a second. Because, well, look, when that picture was posted and the kid had a smirk on his face that a lot of people immediately equated with racism, with white privilege, with toxic masculinity, with disrespect for a Native American veteran, man, the kid got crucified. Social media was packed with stunning indictments of this group of teenagers. Also, because religion was thrown into the mix, that was an interesting little aside. Apologetic Catholics were everywhere. Apologetic Catholics were rushing to the scene going, this is not what Catholic school kids are raised to be like. This must be a bad Catholic school. This is not Catholics in general. This is just, don't judge us all by this one kid's smile. People were only too quick to feed this kid to the wolves. And then the kid was sort of doxxed. Well, not sort of. He was doxxed on the internet. People gave his name. People posted and spread around the interwebs that he was going to go to a specific college, urging the world as a whole to get in touch with their admissions office and deny his enrollment. And then people were inciting physical violence against this kid. And then what happened? Well, the 9-minute video came out, which showed a bit of a different story. Notice I haven't weighed in one way or another on this one yet. If there's anyone I'm judging, it's the collective unconscious of America as opposed to the Native Americans and the Maga Hat kids. In the video, it looks like the smug kid had actually restrained some of his fellow students when it appeared that a Native American activist started yelling at the students for being white, telling them to go back to Europe and cursing them out. Now, the reason I'm still not weighing in on this is because, we don't know if those voices were digitally added in after the fact. This is how crazy people are in their desire to have something fit their political narrative. There are these tweets from this kid's mom saying horrible racist things about Native Americans. However, as it turns out, the Twitter account in question was in no way, shape, or form actually this kid's mom. When it looked like the tide was turning against the witch hunt for this kid, well, a new narrative, new support for this narrative was constructed. This is a kid. This is insane. We need to stop. We need to take a breath. Notice I still haven't weighed in on what happened. Why? Because I don't know, and neither do you.
For more stimulation and less irritation, 9 out of 10 doctors choose KPRC AM 950, Houston's more stimulating talk radio.
Don't get the blues, get all the news. We mean all of you guys out there in Radioland.
All aboard!
He's back. AD on the radio.
Give it up, yeah. Give it up, yeah. Bring this on, come on, come on.
So, understand something. I'm not defending the Maga Hat kid. I'm not. Maybe he is a smug, smarmy, despicable little racist. But maybe he's not. And you know what? I'm not defending the Native American folks that were allegedly shouting, "Go back to Europe," and cursing out a bunch of school kids. Why? Because, look, as the fake Twitter account of the Maga Hat kid's mom proves, just because it's there, sitting there in front of you on the internet, does not necessarily mean it's the truth. Anyways, one thing I can tell you, though, is that the internet really kind of raked this family over the coals, assuming that their child was a smarmy, despicable little racist. If he is a smarmy, despicable little racist, should he be held accountable? Yeah, sure, absolutely. Should that accountability involve physical violence or having to deal with the threat of it? No, not so much. People found out their address. It was posted online. The family business was slandered and attacked, and they were besieged with threats of physical violence because people didn't do their due diligence. People lost their ever-loving minds without really knowing what was going on. And I continue to say that I don't know what's going on. And if you do, perhaps you have more information. And look, it's one of those things. It's one of those things where there's going to be a he said, she said element to it for the entirety of history. But I will tell you now, without a shadow of a doubt, the wrong thing to do was to rant and scream and yell and call for the kid's head on a pike based on a picture. There's been people now who are kind of sort of congratulating themselves for being able to take a second look at the situation and admit they made mistakes. Celebrities did it. I think Jamie Lee Curtis did it and went, oh man, I spoke too soon. Yep, I'm flawed. I'm human, and we as humans should learn to not speak too soon. And I just don't feel like you, me, all of us should participate in this kind of, what's the expression? Kangaroo court? Am I using that properly? It's just this mass hysteria. This mass hysteria, people jump to conclusions because they read a headline and see a picture. You read a headline, see a picture, lose your ever-loving mind, call for this kid to be beaten. So, there you go. We are asking people to look more deeply into situations because things have gotten entirely too surfacey. People are willing to fly off the handle without the slightest provocation. Why? Is it out of a need to be heard? Is it because we all have internet connections? Is it because we all have phones now that convince us that we're the center of the universe? I don't know. But people are so quick to fly off the handle. And like I said, I haven't weighed in on the situation with an opinion yet. And I don't think I ever will because I don't know what happened. People are now going to be firm in their beliefs. This kid and his family are racists. Or this kid showed incredible restraint and was being agitated by people that were cursing them out and telling them to go back to Europe. Either way, people will have made up their mind about something that they aren't sure of. Your mind is an incredible thing with power to fill in the blanks. You can implant memories in the minds of people. And because people need a comfortable truth that supports their narrative, they'll decide what they believe. Facts be damned. And so I guess what I've learned here, and I guess what I'm kind of trying to convince you, me, all of us to do more often, is to just chill the hell out. Take a beat. Take a moment. Wait for facts to come in. I get berated all the time on this show for not weighing in on the trending topic of the day. And as you and I have said numerous times, this is why I don't do it. Because we're trying to be the cooler head that prevails. We're trying to be the folks that go, hey, it's not always so simple. A simple people like a simple narrative. A simple people like something to be black or white. And as we've said over and over and over again on this show, it's not always simple. things aren't always black and white. In this world, in this life, you will find many shades of gray. And in the gray, that's where the good stuff happens. In the gray, that's where the interesting stuff happens. In the gray, that's where the interesting people hang out. And in the gray, you are much more likely to find the truth. And you know, the other thing we keep coming back to on this show is, what do you do in situations like this? We live in a time where absolute insanity is happening. We live in a time where we all took a massive breath and waited to see if our president calling Kim Jong-un Little Rocket Man was going to result in global thermonuclear war. And we all wondered, what can we do? We feel so small in the face of it all. And you know what? It feels small, but it is not. When you just concentrate on you, being the best version of yourself that you can be. And so, what do we do when faced with a smirking kid in a picture looking at a Native American and a headline that tells us something is some way when we don't know? We hopefully stop, and we hopefully take a breath, and we hopefully go, wow, I wasn't there. I don't know what happened. Maybe I will. But right now, having read this headline and seen one picture, I don't really know what the hell is going on. Perhaps my time would be better spent not angrily Facebooking or tweeting about this. Perhaps my time would be better spent being good in my own daily life. I don't know. I don't have the facts. I can't control that situation. But what I can control is how I make my way in the world. What I can control is how I try and make the people around me feel. Trust me on this one. And look, like I said, I'm a person who went to therapy because of the shortness of his temper and his ability to tell someone to kiss his ass a little quicker than maybe you should. I am someone who went to therapy because of my genetic hardwiring to fly off the handle. So maybe I've had a little practice in calming the hell down because it was necessary to my survival back in the day. But the best thing we can do is chill out and be the best version of ourselves that we can be. We want to have a say. We want to weigh in. We want a little piece of internet significance. We want a dopamine hit that comes from people agreeing with us online. Or we want that engagement that comes from people going, ooh, I disagree with what you say. And you seem to be a powerful influencer, so I'm going to disagree with you publicly on the internet. Whatever we want in those situations where we fly off the handle and spout off and pop off, whether it be online or in person, whatever we want isn't really going to serve any of us or the common good. If you're Fox, if you're CNN, if you're one of my cohorts in the media world, yeah, there's probably some pretty good money to be made off of it. But, that's what we need to be fighting against. The profit that lies in division. Like I said, the Putins and the Kim Jongs of this world love it when we go after each other like this. Like, they don't even know what the hell is going on. This is based on one picture, and oh my God, oh, look at them go. Let's pop some popcorn and watch the Americans fight with each other. No, we don't want to give them that. We just want to concentrate on being the best versions of ourselves that we can be and being awesome to everybody that we meet. Especially, and I'll throw this one out there, when they don't deserve it. That is how we move forward together.
You waiting to get washed away.
AD on the radio.
You know, one last thing about the Maga Hat Kid, and then we'll give it a bit of a rest. Up until now, you and I have been talking about average, everyday civilian folks flying off the handle without necessarily having all the facts. Now, that's one thing. Journalists, news outlets, people that purport to be reporters of the truth, doing this without all the facts for the sake of the big, big money you can make in these situations. Off of the clicks, off of the blog hits, off of the more headlines at 11 stuff. Well, that, to me, is an even more egregious sin. We're supposed to have knee-jerk reactions to this sort of thing. The folks that say they are news professionals are not. They're supposed to have some sort of grasp, albeit a tenuous one, of facts. And I think it was really interesting how when more of the Maga Hat Kid story came out, a lot of media figures tried to quietly delete their tweets without any real explanation. There's a guy called Scott Thurman. He is the ABC chief political correspondent. And he deleted a tweet alleging that students in MAGA hats were mocking and taunting. Anna Navarro from CNN, she deleted a tweet calling out, and I quote, the asswipe parents of the students for teaching them bigotry and racism. The backpedaling has been kind of furious over the last 48 to 36 hours. Journalists and public figures on Twitter have been on a deleting spree. No retraction for the most part, no apologies, no explanation, just, oh man, better delete this. Deleting posts, slamming this group of MAGA hat wearing kids. Kara Swisher, I don't know how you pronounce her name. She writes for the New York Times. She deleted one tweet which said that she was thinking of finding every one of these S-wordy kids and giving them a very large piece of her mind. Bakari Sellers, is that? I'm terrible at names, and I want to be respectful and get them right. So I'm just going to say I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right. But Bakari Sellers from CNN, and by the way, I don't watch CNN. I don't watch Fox. I did like for all the reasons that we've been discussing today. So that's why I don't know how to pronounce these folks' names. But CNN's Bakari Sellers deleted a tweet suggesting that the kids should be punched in the face. Again, let's just go back to the earlier conversation we were having. Let's suppose this guy was a smarmy, bigoted, racist piece of crap. Is it okay for a news outlet to advocate punching a child in the face? I'm going to go out on a limb and say no. Bill Kristol deleted his tweet without any explanation. He wrote, if some kid wearing a McCain 2008 cap had been filmed behaving this way, John McCain would have already called Mr. Phillips to express regret. Will Trump do anything like this? Speaking of McCain, you know who did the right thing in this situation? Meghan McCain, John McCain's daughter. She apologized for her reaction, saying, quote, I, like many others, may have reacted too quickly. Apologize for being part of a media pile-on. And you know what? It was an interesting and conflicted situation because I guess this is one thing we didn't talk about. But people on the right were like, oh no, this kid's being racist to a Vietnam veteran while wearing a MAGA hat. This is not a good look for us. Quick. Denounce. So it did cause a little bit of infighting on the right, too. CNN's S.E. Cupp also apologized for the segment she did on her show on Saturday, writing, "Hey guys, seeing all the additional videos now, and I 100% regret reacting too quickly to the Covington story. I wish I'd had the fuller picture before weighing in, and I'm truly sorry." Oh, do you now? Maybe you wait as a news personality to have the fuller picture before weighing in. But they can't, and they won't, because this is how Fox News and CNN and every partisan, note the sarcastic air quotes around these words, news outlet makes money. By screaming and ranting and yelling and ignoring facts that don't support a narrative. The deeper we get into it, the more frustrating it becomes, right? And you'll notice, still, I haven't weighed in on the situation with an opinion in favor or against the kid or the Native American veteran. Why? Because I don't feel like I'm equipped with enough facts to do so yet. And until such a time as I am, I will hold my tongue. And I really hope that you, me, all of us continue to do it, because as it's become abundantly clear over the last couple of days, we cannot rely on the news folks to do it, because they make way too much money by screaming and yelling half-cocked. Now, it's a bad look. All these folks had to apologize. But you know who feels pretty great about the situation? The bean counters at these companies going, oh my gosh. Do you know how many hits our websites got? Do you know how high our ratings were? Do you know how much money we made off of this? Well, yeah, but we didn't have all the facts and there's egg on our face. Who cares? If another situation like this comes along again, you jump on it, and you jump on it hard, because we are making cash hand over fist. But facts, dollars, but facts. Hey man, we got to keep the lights on. It is one in a long line of events of the last couple of years that clearly indicates that facts don't matter as much as filling up the CNN and Fox News coffers. And because they're so quick to do this sort of thing in the quote-unquote news, well, then it falls to us. I know, we're all working a million jobs. We're all doing our very best to survive in an uncertain and tough world. We don't know what's going on with inflation and money and health insurance and real estate prices and employment and the minimum wage and all the things that we need to provide any kind of certainty in our life. The vast majority of those things have been pulled out from underneath us. So we're just trying to survive. And now it falls to us to keep our eyes open for the truth. Well, yeah, it does. Here's the thing. It's not really much of a task. You just go on, you live your life. You be the best version of yourself that you can possibly be. And when you see a damning photograph preceded by an incendiary headline, you go, I don't know, maybe not. Just have to wait and see. In the meantime, I'm going to be over here, not starting crap with people I don't know, and being awesome to everybody I do know.